And that's the biggest global exclusive interview, first time on world television. The Russian President Vladimir Putin speaks his mind. A man of few words, Putin opens up only and only on India Today television. The entire interview is going to be aired tonight at 9 p.m. But we will right now give you a small excerpt of the Russian President Vladimir Putin on a car ride with his dost, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In fact, remember, that was the image from the meeting at the SCO that went completely viral. And Janam Kashyap did ask that question to Vladimir Putin, to the president, asking him about the story behind that ride and what they discussed during the ride. Vladimir Putin also spoke about it, saying that that ride, that car ride essentially with Prime Minister Narendra Modi really was his idea. Remember, it was the much talked about image with that car ride of President Vladimir Putin along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. A lot of discussions on what could have been possibly discussed during that car ride. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin has also spoken about arm twisting of India. When these questions were asked about how pressure consistently has been built by the West on India, here's the interview. In fact, an excerpt from that interview on popular demand. The president has spoken about the perceived arm twisting of India. Presumably, in fact, this was a question that was asked by Anjana and Geeta Mohan to President Vladimir Putin on how all eyes really are on this all-important meeting, visit of the Russian president to India, and how there has been consistent pressure over the past few years on to reduce the trade ties with Russia, given the pressure from Western countries, given the pressure from the US that India has been dealing with. This is what he said.
But my question to you now would be about defense. And India continues to be the biggest defense buyer. Roughly 38% of the market from Russia is bought by India. My question to you, sir, is in view of the sanctions by the US or the tariffs they have laid on India, the arm twisting methods that are being adopted, and I name it's America. How do you plan to circumvent all this? Will you pull back or push harder?
Ну, мне кажется, что и Индия, весь мир увидели.
Well, I think both the world and India have seen that one cannot talk to India the way they used to talk to it 77 years ago. India is a great power, not an English or British colony, and everyone will have to take that into account. And moreover, the head of the Indian government, Prime Minister Modi, is not one to give in to pressure. The Indian nation can take pride in their Prime Minister. It's absolutely evident Prime Minister Modi has a firm position, which is not, however, confrontational, nor are we going to enter into confrontation with anyone. We are simply trying to defend our legitimate interests, and that is exactly what India is doing. What are the obstacles? There's transactions and payments, but more than 90% of our transactions are carried out in national currencies. There are certain difficulties, of course, because there are intermediaries, but there are solutions to that, because we can transition to using the systems for financial messaging systems, which we have offered by the Bank of Russia and by our Indian counterparts. And we are doing this work steadily. And those who are taking steps to limit the economic cooperation of third parties sooner or later will incur losses. And I think once this understanding settles in completely and fully, then this practice of pressure from outside